I believe that Ronnie Hickman also is going to be a valuable player in a specific role, very specific niche role. He is a much bigger safety at 6'1", 205. I wouldn't be surprised if this is not a guy who bulks up a little bit more, but tall, really long safety, primarily a box player at Ohio State. And I think his role is going to be distinctively that at the next level. Yes. Not a very good tackler, not a very good run defender, but if we're talking about a guy who plays in the box, can cover slot receivers, can cover tight ends, I was really impressed with the way that he was able to handle himself in those situations and one-on-one situations. And that to me is where the value comes into play for a guy like Ronnie Hickman.
Hickman is a very twitchy football player. He sees things, and when he does, changes direction. I was impressed, man. For 6'1", 205, I think he moves in short areas extremely well. Really good short area quickness and acceleration. I think that he's a very willing participant in the run game. I think he comes out of control a lot in the run game, which causes him to miss a decent amount of tackles, but he also does deliver some good shots at points, right? And he does have some impressive plays in the run game. It's just wildly inconsistent. Like this is
right.
This is where I am with Ronnie Hickman. I almost called him Ryan Hickman and Ronnie Hickman, who is a New Jersey guy. Joe, he is a player that would give me an absolute heart attack if I was his coach. Absolute heart attack. I think that he's a little bit of a gambler, which can be an asset at times, right? You're going to guess right sometimes, and you are going to be a step early, and you are going to make a play. You're going to make a big hit. You're going to force a fumble, interception, pass breakup. There's a lot of good things when you read the play very quickly and you're able to accelerate. But then there's going to be some points where my guy is a little bit out of control of the run game, or he gets a little overzealous coming downhill and lets something get right over top of him. So this kid is an over-aggressive player at times, in my opinion, right? I think that there's some physicality to work with. I think there's definitely some quick twitch to work with. I think that there's a lot of really nice athletic traits to work with in general. Mm-hmm. But this guy is going to need an overhaul from the discipline side of the game for me to be a clear asset at the next level. I think he's good. I think he could be a potential starter down the road. I would not start him day one. I don't think he's that type of dude. I would be a little more, let him watch the game a little bit. Pick your spots with him, because I think that he's the type of kid that will get your defense burnt at times. You'll make some big plays, make some flash plays, but then he'll give up one where you're just like, that's difference in winning a football game right there. You know what I mean? Like he's just very peaks and valleys, volatile type of player for me. It's Ronnie Hickman.
So for that specific reason, mainly for the run game stuff, like him not being a consistent tackler, whiffing a lot and having a lot of missed tackles, he overall, if he's not able to develop into a full-time starter, I think for the most part, this is a kid who I only want on the field on passing downs. I'm only bringing him out in
special teams. And special teams.
Nickel or dime situations. I am not putting him out there on first down. I'm putting him out there on third and long, second and long, third and medium, whatever it is. When I am bringing those sub packages onto the field, Ronnie Hickman to me is the perfect ideal player for what I said earlier. He's a really good coverage player, one-on-one situations with slot receivers, bigger slots, tight ends, you name it. He has those skills, and he showed flashes of it. I know that there are times where he does get beat, he does overcommit, he does gamble, and that leads to mistakes. But for a guy that is strictly, if he hits like the middle of his ceiling, like he doesn't get all the way to his ceiling and he kind of plays where he's at, maybe a little bit better than he is at right now, this is purely going to be a sub-package guy for the long term, a sub-package coverage safety that I bring onto the field every so often. And for that reason, I'm not taking him anywhere higher than late day 2, early day 3. I can't commit to a guy that can't play all 3 downs and that I know is going to be a full-time starter. But like if you hit on this kid, you draft him at the end of round 3, early round 4, he's going to be a really great piece, a great weapon, a great add to the rotation of safeties that you have to play a very, very specific role.
Yeah, I think that the positives to his draft valuation is, again, I think that he will be able to help you on special teams potentially pretty early on. And I think there is a compartmentalized role for him at the next level. Like as a dime backer, some man duty against the bigger slots, tight ends. I think that he can do those types of things pretty early in his career. I just struggle with him a little bit, just a bit, because you can improve the disciplinary parts of your game. You can become more reserved and a little bit more reactive. You could do those things. But there's also a lot of players who have not been able to get over that hump, right? And to take that next step. So this is a day 3 football player for me. And it's not because of lack of talent. It's because of the volatility, right? And that's
where on day 3.
I would start thinking early day 3, but like this is a 4th, 5th round type of player for me personally.
Got it.
You know, because he's a player, again, the volatility scares me at safety. It does. Like it's cliche, but he is the last line of defense, right? So like making one bad mistake, one false step, one bad read, and lights are out, right? And so, yeah, he scares me a little bit. I think there's a little bit too much volatility for me personally. Does he have starter traits? Absolutely. He's not an extremely gifted football player from a natural perspective, though, right? Like he doesn't see the game incredibly well, but he's long. He's powerful. He's explosive, right? Like all those things together, I guarantee, Joe, I don't know what his 40 time will be. Probably like 4.54 or something. Like it's not going to be amazing. It's going to be solid though.
Yeah.
But I think that he is going to jump incredibly well. I think he's going to broad jump incredibly well. I bet you he has a good 3 cone. I think overall he is going to blow up the combine a little bit. So he'll probably rise a little bit in this process because he was productive at Ohio State and he has athletic traits. Just the volatility right now is a little scary for me, just a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think we're too far off. I think I'd maybe just value the sub package role a little bit more. But look, in general, for both these guys, you can never have too many defensive backs, which is why they could both get drafted way higher than we both expect. And something that we're excited to see what happens with these players. Folks, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of the other scouting report episodes that we do. Also, make sure you head on over to betonline.ag. Use promo code BELIEVE to get that 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline.ag, where the game starts. At Joe DeLeone, at Rise and Draft. Thanks for tuning in, folks. We'll be back with more.